Now, Fred is one of a few. Rashford's done the same, taken to social media. I just want to say I'm very happy here. I have never expressed any dissatisfaction and the possibility of leaving the club. Don't get misled by fake news. We'll continue to work with great dedication to pursue our goals. So, do we believe, Ralf, that nothing indeed is of a toxic nature
the players
at the football
themselves.
club or the players themselves? What do we think?
I think, the argument is that there were factions inside Manchester United that aren't happy. And I think those factions are probably Martial, Mata, Lingard, players that aren't hugely relevant to the long term.
Fernandes been left out recently. He won't be happy.
Possibly, but he is part of the foreseeable future. Some of these guys probably aren't. And so their unhappiness is probably not that important insofar as it doesn't affect your direction of travel, but it might affect the morale because they've got sniping in the background and creating a noise that people don't necessarily need. I hate to go down the route of smoke without fire, but there will be a germ or a vein of thinking inside Man United which isn't where it needs to be, and you're seeing some of that reflect itself on performances. So it's unarguable. If the performances were fine, you probably wouldn't hear or be given so much credence to the background noise that might be coming from sources that are not as legitimate or as concerning for Man United going forward. And I know that people were very keen to express a view that categorically wasn't the case. I wanted to ask Danny, the manager's explanation of interaction between players and his communication skills, because I think top managers communicate with their players regularly and keep them on board, which is why Klopp is able to go and field a team of players that turn out for him when he wants them to, without any seeming break in his step. What did you make of the way that he talks about it's only a certain amount of players, certain spaces, certain amount of ability to play certain players? I talk to him once every 3 weeks. As an ex-pro that would know what that's like,
it's a difficult balancing act. I'm of the opinion that when you're not going to play players for whatever reason, whether it's rotation, lack of form, they appreciate being communicated with. Now, that you can hide behind his excuses, we've got lots of games and I can't talk to them all the time. Well, yes, you can.
Yeah,
because what else can you do to keep them on board? My feeling is the best man-to-man managers do communicate more than some. Over the years, I've worked with some managers who always tell you when you're not playing and give you a reason, and some who never do.
Throw you a bib.
Yeah. Now, Martin Jol wasn't very good at communicating. He wouldn't talk to you about why you weren't or were playing unless you knocked on his door.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Well, he caused himself a multitude of problems doing it that way, especially with senior players. He was fine for a while at Spurs, a lot of young players. Came to Fulham with senior players, mayhem.
Yeah.
Whereas Houllier, even in the year where we played the 60-plus games and we won the treble, very rarely would you not know why you weren't playing, even if we played 3 in a week.
Yeah.
So, of course, there was the odd rotate, lots of players, and sometimes he would forget, and he'd just change the team because we played Wednesday night, Saturday morning, and then he'd speak to you maybe later. But generally, 9 out of 10, he'd pull you and he'd say, this is what I'm doing, this is my plan, this is why I'm doing it. And if you didn't like it, you had your opportunity, but at least you'd been told. Because I tell you the alternative.
Exactly.
Tell you the alternative. A player's guessing, comes to his own conclusions, right or wrong, goes off with his mate and his other two mates, and goes blah, 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 in the corner, whispering away.
Make their own mind up.
And the resentment builds. And the resentment builds bad behaviour. And it's a cancer. It goes into another player's ear, another one. He's not playing, he's this, he's that. And all of a sudden, that cancer builds. And the best teams, I don't know what Pep does at City, but I'm assuming he's a good communicator. I don't know, but looks like he is. But the players there are all together, and that's how you get success. The Liverpool players, one of the things we've seen with Liverpool for the last few years, and City, very rarely you get these reports in the press, these little inklings of players being really unhappy. Now and again, but generally there's a harmony which is created by the leadership of the manager. And that has to come through communication.
Yes.
What's happening at United at the minute, you can see it in the body language of some of the players. They're not happy because they're not playing, because they haven't been told why. Usually you transfer your unhappiness with energy, not with lethargy. You see Rashford at the moment, who's a super talent. He's not really at it. Fernandes coming off the bench. He's trying to be fair to him, but he's going to be fuming. And all of a sudden that just resonates around the place that there's an unhappiness. I don't think there's an identity there at the minute of what he's trying to. It might be long term, but at the moment I can't see what he's trying to do.
And you would maybe say at the end of that, Danny, he needs to be on the bandwagon of communicating better.
Yeah, or you go the other way. And you go the Rafa way. Or even the Conte way, I think. Where you go, this is how it's happening.
Yeah.
This is what I'm doing, and you're either on board or you're not.
Sure.
It's a short-term thing. I mean, Conte at Chelsea, they won the league and the players were wanting out.
Yeah.
You know, that's the truth of it.
Presumably, it's simple though. When communication is better, Simon, everyone's on board with the project. Everybody knows the direction it's going in, and everybody's happy to speak about it because you're singing from the same hymn sheet. Then you don't get quotes, and I hate it, fake news.
It takes away the opportunity for people to have a complaint about it. They don't feel they're being treated properly. But the bottom line is very few people like delivering bad news. Real leaders don't mind doing it because they accept the fact that it's the reality of the job and that players have got to own it. And what you want to do is get players into a position where they understand the reasons why we're not. You know, it's not a debate. It's not a democracy. I'm still going to do what I want to do, but I'm going to give you the courtesy of an information curve.